This is an example, just kind of a generic example of kind of a roll up of avoided cost values. We will work with you guys and provide you, if you haven't actually experienced the avoided cost calculator, nobody really has. We make that really easy to understand in a different way. But again, the utilities are paying for the delivered flexibility based on these NMEC rules that we can certainly provide lots of details on, but they're very crystallized and clear. And what we're able to do is paying out the total systems benefit in each hour. So what is that hour worth, and from an avoided cost basis relative to the cost of blackouts and storage on the grid and other things that feed in there. And with the peak being 4 to 9 p.m. summer weekdays, 7 and 8 being net peak, much more valuable. And so we're paying total systems benefit, but I'll get into kind of the payment calculation. The market access program itself has changed those calculations. They're much more lucrative than they ever have been in a traditional efficiency program. I'll touch on that in a second. So a couple things going on here. First of all, in market access, relative to any traditional program, one of the things and I've cut out the numbers on purpose because this is a little bit in flux, but will be hammered out shortly and in plenty of time for planning purposes. But shifting load is more valuable than it's ever been. So one of the things that the ruling instructs to be done that we're supporting is shifting value in the avoided cost hours into the summer peak period. And so we're seeing and this is a representation of the peak period, and with 7 and 8 being net peak hours, the most valuable. And so unlike kind of traditional dispatchable DR, these are scheduled values. You'll know exactly what each day is worth in advance in each hour. And there is no requirement for a 5-hour demand response call, like is often the case with CAISO transactions. There's significant value if you can pre-cool a building, turn off a third of the lights in a parking garage, whatever literally whatever you can do, get folks to, reschedule, their dishwashing or other types of processes out of this peak. So shifting from, 7 to 6 is actually valuable. Of course, if you can shift out of system peak, that's going to be the most valuable, but there's more arbitrage than there ever has been from a shifting standpoint. So looking around the room here, do you have customers? Do you have BMS systems? Can you engage them to shift their loads out of peak? And that can be fancy pants DERMS controlling devices. It can be working on O&M to just reschedule loads to make adjustments. This is, again, not a dispatch you have to respond to on a real-time basis. It's going to be the entire summer. You're going to know in advance. So it opens it up to all sorts of different approaches to load shifting. And it's highly valuable because of the increased value that is going to be put on these peak periods. So there's more differential and then more arbitrage, more money to be made.